Okay, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. And as always, I'm joined by the chartered vendor, Nyazungu. And this is the podcast where we get to talk about the trending business stories, looking at the stories that are making the headlines locally and regionally as well as internationally, to try and extract some business lessons that we believe might benefit you for a business conversation. And how are you, comrade?
I'm okay. How's it?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm
That's
doing
good.
well.
That's good.
So yeah, lined up for today. There's a very interesting story that I saw. It's interesting. It's sad at the same time, but there are a lot of things that we can learn from that. Did you see the usual market, our Mbare Musika?
Yes, I saw that.
By fire.
That.
So when that happened, I was very disturbed, especially after then learning some of the personal stories that were coming from the people. You know, there's a lady who was saying she was given all the money for, people were doing those self-investments, like the Mkando, you know. And she was saying that she is the one who was keeping the money, and she was keeping the money in that shop.
Because it was safe.
Exactly.
It
was
never
safe
happened.
there. And she was saying that they started pulling the money together since January with the intention to sell it, to share it in December. So you can imagine the amount of money that they had raised. It was all gutted down by fire.
Do you think she's telling the truth, or it's another? It's another 4 million.
I don't know. Maybe she could be telling the truth. Then another one that.
Or it's another 4 million scandal.
Yeah. Obviously. Who knows? These days, especially if you were owed by someone who works there, they'll be like, I had your money, but
it's gone.
It's gone. It was bent. Then there's another sad story. There's a lady who had borrowed money, and I think she was saying she had about 5 tons of peanuts. They were all gutted down by fire. She was hoping to sell them. They were all bent down.
That's so sad, eh?
So let's talk about the disaster preparedness at business level. Businesses, how do we prepare for such eventualities?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think these things are happening. And when they do happen, they can happen after a year, they can happen after 5 years, they can happen after 20 years. If you still remember also, I think the Glenview.
That one is a
yearly. It's
an annual event. Every year, it's getting.
It's not an annual inferno.
Yeah. Don't you think there's someone who's collecting the insurance money?
Definitely, because what is also happening is people are now clever. So you might never know, but let us just assume that it's happening because it's a genuine incident. But if you look at all these things, because what I've noticed in our culture, or rather here in Africa or in Zimbabwe, it's ignorance. We don't know that you can insure your car. You can drive your car for 40,000, and sometimes you just need 1,000 to insure full cover annually. But someone can actually drive that car on third party.
Absolutely.
Until when is involved in an accident, that's when you say, that's when you even check whether it was insured. Are you really getting it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're now running an organization, probably you now have runners and other people, accountants who are running it on your behalf.
Yeah.
That's when you now check that is the insurance expired. Just the same like a medical aid. You only look at, did you pay the medical aid when someone is sick?
Someone is sick, yeah.
So as a country, I don't think we think in terms of whether something is going to happen, a disaster is going to happen. We always think that probably what is right now, the status quo is going to remain. But I don't think we are prepared for anything. I think it starts from a family level. It starts from a family level.
Last week we were talking about setting up family trust in preparation of the
exactly. That's also an insurance.
Yeah.
To say, I don't know what is going to happen in next 10 years. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. But what about if I just safeguard myself? If I just safeguard my family? What about if today, if I'm going to be involved in an accident? What about if today I'm going to turn blind? How am I going to be surviving? We don't think in terms of doing that. We only think that whatever we have, we're going to be keeping. That's the problem with us as Africans. We don't think. Our problem is we only think about the meal which you're going to eat next.
Yeah. Even the way a lot of us structure our businesses, most businesses, they operate as if they're in survival mode to say, if it takes care of me, then it's good enough. But then on the other side of the continent, we have people who are planning for generations. They plan generations ahead in terms of their businesses.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at one of the infamous banks in America, JP Morgan.
JP Morgan, yeah.
Only to realize that JP Morgan was an actual person who is one of the founding fathers of America, who was interested in finance and started the bank from the 1920s, even the 1800s. He was actually the richest man back then. He cascaded that banking skill to his children, the grandchildren. Up to now, the bank is still existing. Look at the likes of Ford. He started that company way back.
It's still there. Our mindset is, if I've got a nice house, if I'm driving a nice car, if I'm healthy, that's okay. Those are going to come. They'll see for themselves. You look at Elon Musk, what he's doing in America. You look at the guys like Donald Trump. Do you think if someone was a billionaire in Africa and they're now 70-something years old, do you think they will even run for president, risking their lives like what Donald Trump is doing?
That they wouldn't.
And you just wonder, why is he interested in getting into power now? He's got everything. Literally everything which he needs. He's got fame, he's got power, because he's still the former president of America he's still a president. He still has got secret service, he's got everything. He's thinking of probably next 100 years. When he's talking, you think that is going to survive for the next 50 or 100 years. You get what I mean? A conversation which lacks, especially in us Africans. You look at Elon Musk, he's trying to develop something in Mars. Probably it's going to succeed. Or the guys or his children are the ones who are going to...
We're going to eventually take the people to Mars.
So I think it's an issue of coming back to Mbare, it's an issue of saying, if I'm in this building, you get what I mean? We've invested so much in this studio. We've invested in cameras. We've invested in mics, everything.
Yeah.
Even at company level, ourselves, have we insured these things? And how much are we going to pay? Probably if you're going to contact an insurance company, it's only $100.
Absolutely. But then we begin to cry when the building is gutted by
fire. You hear that
the
house is on fire. That's when you say, wow, I should have... You start calling... That's when you start calling insurance companies.
Okay, so tell me, off the top of your head, do we have a Zimbabwean grown company that is now over 50 years old? Off the top of your head, do you know any? A Zimbabwean brand which has been in existence for over 50 years.
Yeah, there. I think we can talk of Guest Antenna. It's a Zimbabwean brand, 1920, thereabouts. Yeah, it's there, Guest Antenna. You look at the events company, the famous one, Rooney's.
Yeah.
You talk of your... Yeah, I think they're there.
Okay, so
but if you notice, most of them, they're owned by white people.
Exactly.
Or they were previously owned by white people, but they're now been taken over by blacks.
So I think that should have been
probably, if you say black owned.
Black owned, yeah. Maybe we right now we still be trying to scratch our heads.
Because even if I'm going to be just saying INSCO, because INSCO, we're not talking of almost 40 years.
Yes.
It's over 40 years, because they started in around 1987 thereabouts. Yeah, that is almost 50 years as well. But if you look at it, these are white-owned businesses. So do we have black-owned?
Do you know that?
Which have pushed up to 50 years. I don't know if we have.
I strongly doubt. But
when did Tender started?
Tender, I'm not too sure, but I doubt if it's 50 years old.
It's not 50 years old.
Because I think he's still alive.
The owners are still alive because they're brothers.
Exactly. So, you know where I wanted to drive you? I wanted you to come to a point where you realize that the only other institutions that have survived well over 50 years, they are churches. Do you know that we've got churches, like you've got the likes of your AFM in 100 years, I don't know. Zayoja there, but you see now. So the most surviving institutions probably they're going to be
Masowe, 1931. So it's only churches.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
So I think it's when you're looking at churches, even if we hear them saying things, it's not about they're visionaries. Even the people who started these churches, they were not looking on themselves only. They were looking at the future. But us, when we're starting these companies, we think that we're going to be here forever. So imagine if we start investing in our kids, bringing them, watching businesses. What they're, even right now, as they're still young, just they should come and just touch the mics. And see that's the Indian. That's what the Indians do. That's what the Jews do. If you notice, the Indian kid will be in the shop with the father.
True.
Not doing anything, just watching.
Okay. Now that you've mentioned Indians, let me divert a little bit. I want to tell you a funny story about the Arabs and the Indians that you've mentioned. Do you know that Indians are the only other community after the Arabs and the other ones that are so connected to the point where if one Indian migrates to say a country, say maybe Zimbabwe, let's say they come to Zimbabwe. If one person comes and then they see that Zimbabwe is habitable, they'll bring the rest of the other Indians. They support each other. They'll help each other set up businesses in that country to a point where it's almost like everywhere you go in the world, there's a space occupied by Indians. And there are so many that you can actually believe that you are in India.
Yeah, India.
In South Africa, they're in Durban. In Zimbabwe, they're in Belvedere. In every other country,
Lusaka, they've taken over the whole Lusaka.
You see now, that's what they do. And it's something that I've seen that it lacks on the African side.
With Africans,
rarely do you
with
see.
Africans, the guy you take from your rural areas, you bring him to Harare, is the one who makes sure that you fall. So even if you're interested in taking over all the family and make them better, they're the ones who will be first to pull you down.
Absolutely.
So it's what I notice is, what I think is, when the white people came, they took something which is very important from us, and we don't realize it, and we haven't even made strides or make even effort to take it back.
What is that thing?
Culture.
Okay.
If you look at the culture of Africans way back, when you used to be governed by kings and queens, you will notice that the culture was intact. Totems were there. Right now, we can spend even 20, 30 years. You can be my friend for 10 years, but I don't even know your totem. You get what I mean? In the yesteryears, if you were a Soko, you were a brother to me. You get what I mean? And a real brother. And they would value that. Even marriages, no one would marry from someone with the same totem. You get what I mean?
We started hearing about that now.
But nowadays, when they took over, when they took that away from us, that was our downfall. If you notice all these communities which are saying Indians, they still have their culture intact. If you look at the whites, the Jews, they still have their culture. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about culture.
Before religion.
Culture first. To say, if you see an elderly person, you greet him. Even if you're in town, if you see someone in an elevator, if he's older than you, you're the first one to say, good evening, father. Good evening, my brother, my big brother. But we can no longer do that. We just say, this is town. I don't care about you.
Don't greet
so that's where it starts now, to say, when our culture was taken away from us, we are now lost sheep. We are trying to copy from other people's culture, and we are not also good at copying. That's why you notice that right now we've got households with young people who are speaking English only. And if you get into those households, it's as if it's glorious to say, my kid cannot speak in
They
Shona.
don't speak Shona.
It's like
they
no,
speak in
he,
English.
he cannot speak Shona. Don't worry. He doesn't know how to speak Shona.
Yeah.
And they've got schools which have actually banned the local languages, and they want to speak in English only. So we're lost.
Did I tell you about this other infantry school where I saw them teaching Shona in English? Yeah, they were teaching our kids. They were teaching them to speak Shona, but doing it in English. So they were saying, if you want to say father, you say ba. That's what they were doing.
So it was now reversed now.
Exactly, literally. And I found that
it's as if no English is our native language. And
Yes.
So if you look at it, even if you look at like we're talking about schools, it's not a shame. If you look at it, it's not a shame because we look at even marriages. If you want to see that we're lost, our culture in Africa is just dead. We marry each other traditionally. We pay lobola.
Then you go on to
we go on to marry each other on a big white wedding. European wedding. And where, even if we say you're a Christian, where in the Christian Bible has anyone been married twice?
No.
So it means that we're lost.
Absolutely.
That's where, when everything was taken away from us, the culture, that's when we lost it as Africans. If we're going to go back into our civilization, copy what was being done by our grandfathers, you notice that we start doing we start doing things in our own way. And we can progress as a community, we can progress as businesses, we can even remove this kind of risk which are actually happening. Because why? We are now thinking like Africans. We need to be exposed. Not to say the American culture is bad. Not to say the European culture is bad. Because it's the one which taught us about our insurance. We never knew about, our uncles never knew about insurance.
Yeah.
But we're now saying if you're going to be taking things, we need to start educating unfortunately now, even our people, if we bring them educational broadcasts like this, they don't like them.
They want skits.
They want skits.
Controversy.
They want men. If right now, if Jerry is going to wear a duke and if he's going to wear like a lady and start making sound like he's funny, people will start following.
Absolutely.
And I'll start saying, my Jerry. People
you should do that.
Many people will start following our channel and they'll say, wow, these guys are funny. If you look at it now, that's our community. That we don't like to learn. We don't care about education. There are various platforms where you can actually learn. Just recently I was listening to Dr. Chirisa. The information is important information.
The Dr. Kumpasta?
Yes.
Nice.
Important information. But you see, 100 likes. But you see someone who is uttering nonsense there. 7,000 likes.
Absolutely.
So that's who we are.
And it's a sad place to be. Then another thing, you're a consultant. You understand what I'm about to say next a little bit better than me. There's something that is well, it's in the process of being signed by the president to effectively become law. It's with regards to tax. Did you hear about it? Where they're saying they've found a way to tax the informal sector, where they're now saying for a vehicle, a combi that carries less than 16 passengers, or I don't know, is it 24 or 16 passengers, they're now charging around $60 per vehicle. So as opposed to your logistics businesses being taxed as a business, they now tax per vehicle. And also they've trickled down to saloons where they're saying the tax for saloons is now $10 per chair in saloons. Then there's also your rented out cottages. Yeah, if you've got a cottage and you're renting it out, they're now charging, I think, $60 as well per month for that cottage. And then also our Mbare Musika, the recent one which was burnt down by fire, they want to tax it. I don't know how they've structured the tax there. So my next question was going to be, what do you think about the government wanting to tax a facility which has been gutted down by fire by lack of facilities that should have put out the fire in the first place? Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, you look at it. I'm always baffled by what is happening. Like It's not a problem that we're trying to collect taxes, and because I think if we look at it globally, probably we've got some of the lowest taxes globally. And I was checking, I think if you're going to Italy, it's around 50% income tax. If you look at it, this side is around 25. But whilst Italy is taxing its own people, you also look at the production which is happening in those kind of economies. When someone is taxed at 50, 65%, I heard that they can stretch to about 60 something percent in Europe.
Wow.
There's a country, I think it's Belgium, if I'm not mistaken, around 65%. There's nothing wrong with our government taxing citizens, taxing informal sector, taxing my brothers in barbers and saloons. But let us now look at what is also the government doing, like what you're saying, in protecting those businesses, in making it easy for someone to do business.
Yes.
Are we making it easy for the combi guys to make more money? Are we making it easy for the vendors? Vendors are always chased around, and still you want to tax them as well. So the question is, if we actually availed facilities where these guys, they can make more money, are they protected right now? When the guys in Mbare have suffered, this is a blow to the economy. This is a blow to the whole economy.
It's a very big one.
It's not an issue which you should laugh about. You know, it's a big blow. Because how many families are surviving on that?
Absolutely.
It's a lot. It's a whole part of economy which has been destroyed. If you see that Glenview complex going down, it means also it's a part of economy which is also going down. But the question is, what is the government doing to make sure that this thing will never happen again? Because the signs are already there.
Yes.
If we check, probably they're not even a fire extinguisher in Mbare. Did we even put some, were there even guidelines to protect us from fire?
I don't think they were. It was just a do as you will type of market.
So are we going to be taxing that same people?
So for me, I strongly believe that, well, taxes are necessary because you are, as you know, as we trade, we are using up the resources that this beautiful country has given us, and some of them might not be recovered, and some of them, the cost of extracting those resources is a bit high. So it only makes sense to be taxed so that we continue to renew the resources that are making us be in business. What I want, or my prayer for the government, is if they could possibly use the money that they've collected from a certain industry and loop it back into that industry to make the operations of the players in there a bit easier, like you are rightfully saying. So, for example, let's look at, they tax our Mbare Musika, right? If they tax our Mbare Musika or our green market in Mtare, they should invest that money back into that market, maybe put shades, put a water reticulation system, maybe build nice stores for vendors to sell on. If they tax the transport industry, the combis particularly, they should invest back that money into building proper ranks, holding bays where we don't flood our combis in the CBD, but they're in holding bays and only come into the rank as per need. You see? So that's what I'm
fixing roads as well.
True, as well as fixing the roads. Do you know that if you look along all the route from where we stay into town, there is no single bus stop with a shade to house the passengers against the rain. So essentially what it means is it's inconvenient for me to be standing by the bus stop waiting for a combi to come and fetch me whilst it's raining. It's a problem that we have, and they need to fix it. So I think the taxing is okay, but will they be using the tax to support the industry where that tax is coming from?
Exactly. That's where the challenge is. If you look at even developed countries, it's actually convenient to use public transport
than to use your personal
vehicle. But right now, everyone is now, it's as if now we are rich, or it's as if everyone needs a car. Because our public transport sector is dead.
It's non-existent.
So what we want to do now is to introspect as Africans, as government. We've got listening people in the government. It's an issue of really addressing the real elephant in the room, which is to say, after taking some money from someone, why can't we invest a bit to make sure that do you know that if even in terms of compliance, if someone was really benefiting to say probably government has taken $1,000 from you, but you notice that they've invested back your $250, and you also enjoy the facilities which they've actually created, there's no way people are never going to.
We don't evade tax.
Exactly, because
who pays
there's
the
kind
tax?
of motivation for people to
Pay
evade
the
tax.
tax, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Then another one, I stumbled upon a very interesting statistic. Did you know that world over, the banks are retrenching about 62,000 people
That
annually?
one is crazy.
And Zimbabwean banks as well, they're on a retrenchment spree.
I heard that
They are bleeding out people.
CBZ is actually cut his management. Do you know that?
ZB as well.
ZB as well.
Yeah.
I heard that CBZ is also cutting in the next phase.
Wow. What could be the motivation behind? Let's try and
It's
analyze.
two-way. If you notice these days, not many people are now getting into the bank because if you look at our banking sector, it's mostly electronic. People are doing EcoCash.
Digital, yeah.
People are doing their internet banking,
Your Zipit.
Zipit, etc.
You can now pay
So
fees.
there are now
and
very
like
few
that.
people who are now going into the bank. You can actually spend the whole year without getting into the bank.
But still transacting on a daily basis, yeah.
So that one also, it means that every day when you're getting technology, when technology is coming into this world, it simply means that most of the people are going to be going out of employment.
True.
The getting in of Starlink, it means some people lose.
They're going to lose their jobs.
Their
That's
jobs.
true.
Because Starlink is coming and the self-service.
Did you know that bundles by our so-called mobile network operators could go down that low?
I didn't know. It's a miracle.
When Starlink stepped in, you see the prices, they went down.
Yeah.
No interest in packages suddenly.
Exactly. So the question now is, if technology, to me, I think it's mainly to do with technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the banking sector has been, because why? If we notice, much of the technology has been, banking sector naturally, they invest more in technology than any other
sector, yeah, because they have to be globally compliant with
Exactly.
certain standards. Yeah.
So if you notice now, this is the first sector which is going to be hit. But it doesn't mean that it's going to stop with banks. It's going to go to get into retail.
To other industries.
If we get into countries like UK, it's not self-service. You buy your own things.
You self-checkout.
It's self-checkout.
Yeah, that brings me to another juncture of this conversation. I want to ask you a very interesting but tricky question. So let's stick to the banking sector. If the banks are bleeding out people as a result of technology, and let's say the people who are saving in banks, they did banking and finance, whose responsibility is it to protect the dear students who want to study banking and finance? Should it be yourself to say, I'm seeing the trends, I don't need to get this degree? Or is the university that needs to say, okay, listen, the banking sector is evolving. I think we need to trim our numbers so that we don't get a lot of graduates who then go and join the long queue of, not of unemployment, but of redundants.
Okay. So there are two things.
Okay, tell me. One.
If there's a student who is watching right now, he or she now knows that is never going to take banking and finance in university.
Okay.
But unfortunately now,
Yeah.
they're busy watching at the podcast,
Okay.
enjoying and laughing.
Whilst we are discussing
And
their
gossiping.
future
Whilst they
here.
are discussing their future,
Okay.
which is going to make them drive Land Cruisers and etc.
Yeah.
That's another side. So I don't blame the banks. I don't blame the universities. I blame the foolishness which is with our people. Number one. Number two, education is a business.
Thank you for saying that.
Are you going to tell your customers, are you going to warn your customers that you are not supposed to buy fizzy drinks because
They've got
they've got a lot of sugar? No.
You say, no, come
Are you
and
going
buy.
to say don't buy fast food because you suffer from high blood pressure? No.
Come and buy.
Come and buy.
You know, I was having a conversation
your own
with
funeral.
some colleagues to say, You know, there's a university, University. They recently released a very nice student accommodation facility. They invested money, whether it was a loan or
And they're supposed to recover.
Do you think they will cut off students?
No. They want even many. They'll even establish some funny degrees. They'll even establish some funny degrees to attract students. Because what people don't want to say is education is a business.
Absolutely, it's a business.
And it's as if it's some... And when they're now talking about it, they never... Actually, the private schools are the ones who are now telling us that, no, this is a business. So if you notice even the universities, it's a business.
Yes.
They're supposed to make profit at the end of the what?
Of the day.
They're not doing it for charity. It's a business.
It's a business. You know, something that I also realized about our learning institutions, they are letting us down. Do you know that? Okay, let me put it this way. Of all the students that graduate every year in Zimbabwe, let's be kind and put the number at 30,000. We've got 30,000 graduates every year. For someone to graduate with a degree, you need to either have written a thesis or a dissertation. And the dissertation or thesis, it's based on a problem. So given that dynamic that we have got 30,000 solutions and 30,000 problems identified in 2024 alone, what's your take on the state of our economy when we have figured out the solutions?
Education is a business. And right now, most of the people, they've now realized that education is business.
Can you imagine we've got an entire faculty in a college where people are being taught marketing, and part of the modules it's digital marketing, and the lecturer doesn't even know how to use LinkedIn.
I know. Even right now, we've got guys who are being taught videography, media. But the lecturer doesn't even have a camera.
They don't even know how to operate one.
The lecturer, not...
Very interesting indeed. So I think on that note, we can wrap up this episode and say thank you so much for watching to the very last minute. And before you go away or before you click away, please make sure that you're subscribed and you also comment and share the video with your friends and peers so that they can also learn from this content. And we still have our giveaway, our $100 giveaway every month, where we give away money, a $100 bill, to somebody who's interacting with our content. You know, they're posting comments, they're also sharing and having conversations with us in the comment section, and would be happy to have topic suggestions come through the comment section so that we can give to you what exactly you want. I mean, we're living in a generation of entertainment or content on demand. Otherwise, from me to you, sign out.
As we celebrate 10 years of building timeless businesses, M&J would like to take this opportunity to honor and celebrate our valued clients. Over the years, we have grown together, creating partnerships that have transformed dreams into reality.
We don't just celebrate our achievements, we celebrate the trust you've placed in us. Trust that has made us your partners in starting and establishing your companies, and partners in navigating the challenges of business.
We've been your partners in investing in Zambia, South Africa, and other countries, helping you tap into new markets and opportunities for sustainable growth and future.
Partners in ensuring compliance with local laws and regulations, and partners helping you grow sales revenue for your company.
We've also been partners in establishing strong HR policies that will not only help your organization, but will also help you to attract the best talent.
Of course, we've been partners in embracing technology, helping you to acquire and implement best solutions that can increase your efficiency and productivity in your business.
Here is to many more years of building long-lasting brands, businesses that endure for generations to come. Here is to 10 years of building timeless businesses with M&J.